She showed up just after dawn, heels stabbing into the gravel like she owned the earth beneath her. No hello, no warning, just a megaphone in one hand, a stack of paperwork in the other, and a voice sharp enough to slice bone. 5 minutes, she barked. Hand over your daughter or I call the police. I hadn't even had coffee yet. She didn't know who she was talking to. That much was clear. She thought running the HOA gave her some divine authority, like she was judge, jury, and executioner. But what she didn't know, what none of them knew, was that the man she was threatening wasn't just a tired rancher with mud on his boots and a dead wife in the ground. He was someone with more law running through his veins than any of them could handle. My 12-year-old daughter, Sophia, stood next to me on the porch, pale, her small hands clenched tight. She'd been through hell already, losing her mom way too young. And now this circus. I looked past her to the mob gathering at my gate. Neighbors, phones out, streaming live, eating it all up like it was Saturday morning entertainment. Karen Prescott, the self-appointed queen of the HOA, was front and center, barking accusations. Your daughter let the horses loose last night. Damaged community property. You've lost control of her. Her megaphone screeched. Her voice cracked the still morning like thunder. I stepped down off the porch, kept my tone steady as I approached the gate. She didn't blink, just waved an official-looking letter in the air like it was a declaration of war. 5 minutes, she snapped again, or I escalate this to the state level. Behind her, I saw my neighbor Tom Reynolds hovering, avoiding eye contact. Typical. He wasn't the worst of them, but fear makes cowards out of decent people. Karen had buried 3 families in legal fees already. Folks were terrified of her. I unlocked the gate, pulled it open slow, deliberate. Let them all get a clear view of the badge mounted just inside the post. The one that read Sheriff Lucas Harper. Everything stopped. Karen's face turned white, then red, then something in between. I could practically hear the gears grinding in her skull. You want to call the cops? I asked, voice calm but unshakable. You're looking at him. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. A few phones lowered. Some brows furrowed. But Karen, she didn't back down. Not entirely. She launched into a monologue about ethics and bias and conflict of interest. A rehearsed speech. A stall. Then she did something insane. She pulled out her phone and set a 5-minute timer. Let it beep loud and slow for everyone to hear. Tick-tock, Harper. She grinned. But I didn't move. I walked back to Sophia, pulled her close. She looked up at me with wide eyes, whispered, Dad, I swear. I locked the horses up last night. I didn't do anything. And I knew in my bones she was telling the truth. I had made a promise to my wife, to myself, that no matter what, I would protect this girl. No power-hungry neighbor or HOA president with a god complex was going to take that from me. The timer hit 0. Karen, looking smug, started dialing. I let her, because I knew something she didn't. My land had cameras, motion sensors, security footage, and what I found later that morning nearly made me drop the monitor. There, in the grainy black and white, was a figure moving through the night, blade in hand, heading straight for the fence. And the shape of them, the way they moved, it wasn't a stranger. It was someone I knew, someone close. The next morning, before I could even act on what I'd seen, it got worse. I left early to meet a tech guy and enhance the video at the station, thinking Sophia was safe at home, doing her schoolwork. That's when I got the text. Dad, she's back. She's saying weird stuff about my future. I'm scared. My chest turned to stone. I blew every speed limit on the drive back. Karen stood at the gate again, alone this time, clutching a thick file like it held every secret in the world. Her face wore that same fake sweet expression she put on at HOA meetings right before she gutted someone's savings account. Sheriff Harper, she said, like we were old friends. I didn't reply, because by then I had already seen what was in that footage. And soon so would she. They always say mornings are quiet on the ranch. But that day, as I sipped my coffee and watched the fog rise off the pasture, trouble pulled into my driveway in a polished SUV. I found her standing by the porch, talking to my daughter with that thin-lipped smile that never reached her eyes. She spoke softly, but the meaning behind her words landed hard. It would be unfortunate if Sophia's behavioral problems ended up permanently affecting her future. I saw the official school logo on the paper she held out, more warning than letter. She wasn't just meddling. She was threatening my daughter's education. I stepped forward, voice calm but firm. Leave. Now. But she wasn't finished. She glanced at the land behind me and said, "It's such a lot of space for just 2 people. Don't you think? Some families could give Sophia the structure she needs." She was laying the groundwork to challenge custody. Not just my property, now my daughter was her target too. Then, with one last smirk and a cryptic "people talk, Sheriff. They worry?" She climbed into her car and drove off, leaving Sophia in tears, asking if she was ruining everything for me. That shattered something inside me. That night, I called Ryan Caldwell, my oldest friend, a deputy with the county. I didn't have to say much. "I need to know who she really is," I told him. "Who's backing her?" He said he'd look into it. Meanwhile, Sophia came to me with something that made me proud. She'd recorded their earlier conversation at the front gate. Smart kid. But later that night, I got a text from an unknown number. "You can't protect her forever." Things only got worse. I came home 2 days later to a circus. News vans, townsfolk crowding the driveway, cameras rolling. Karen had escalated. She stood in front of everyone, preaching about community standards and painting my daughter as some kind of danger. Officer Janet Mills, one of the cops called to the scene, spoke privately with Sophia, then returned to the crowd. "The child is safe, healthy, and doing advanced schoolwork." She wasn't buying any of it. Then Sophia, brave as ever, stepped up. "Mrs. Prescott keeps coming to our house and telling me I don't belong here. But I do. I want to stay." That turned the air. People started to shift uncomfortably, murmuring. Tom Reynolds, longtime HOA board member, tried to de-escalate. "Karen, maybe we take this up in a proper meeting." But Karen was past reason. She started waving around a folder stuffed with false violations, ranting about corruption and rules. That's when Dorothy Bennett stepped forward, the oldest resident in our neighborhood, respected by everyone. She said, "Enough. Let's hear everything." And we did. First, a recording of Karen herself, talking about how she helped drive out other families for kickbacks from a local developer. Emails, documents, all there. Then Sophia played her clip. Karen's voice sharp and unmistakable. "This town belongs to me. In 5 minutes, your life is going to change." Silence. Officer Mills didn't hesitate. She arrested Karen on the spot. Harassment. Threats. The once unshakable HOA president was now being dragged to a cruiser, her perfect image unraveling literally, right there on livestream. By the next morning, the footage had gone viral. I received messages from people I didn't even know. The mayor himself called to apologize and lifted my suspension from city work. The council even asked me to return. Tom Reynolds pushed for HOA reforms. Dorothy was voted in as the new president. Her first act? Paint your fences whatever color you like. As for Sophia, she became a quiet symbol of strength. Kids who'd felt silence started speaking up. Inspired, we launched a writing camp, Freedom Ranch, where kids could share their stories, build confidence, and learn they never have to accept being bullied. Not at school, not at home, not in their community. 6 months later, the ranch was filled with laughter, the clatter of hooves, and the sound of stories being written under open skies. I watched Sophia helping a nervous boy onto a horse, patient and kind. In that moment, I realized what we built out of all that chaos was something real, something lasting. Karen? She kept posting rants online from jail, claiming she was set up. Didn't matter. The court had the receipts: extortion, fraud, harassment. No bail. Straight to federal prison. Her shadow still lingers here and there, but it's no match for the light that's taken its place. We didn't just fight back. We changed something, made it better. So tell me, have you ever stood your ground? Faced down a bully and watched the truth finally win? Share your story. Let's remind everyone that real justice takes all of us.